What is up, my people? You're listening to The Introverted Nerd Watches. I am your host, Reese, and I am back. And so is Fear the Walking Dead. We're back for the mid-season premiere of Fear the Walking Dead, Season 4, Episode 9, People Like Us. Yeah. If you've been listening, you probably know I was not that happy with the first half. But I am back anyway, because I promised that I would finish the season. And here I is, you guys. Here I is. This episode, I don't even know what to say about this episode. It was kind of on Twitter, I said it was kind of a meh season premiere. And that's how I feel. It was not the best episode. It wasn't the worst episode. It was just kind of here. And I watched it. And that's it. But before I get into the nitty gritty, I want to tell you that you should subscribe to the podcast. I do this every week. I have Fear the Walking Dead and I have Saved by the Bell. And I'm going to be, I just got finished with not Black Lightning. Oof. What the hell is the show called? On Freeform. Oh my God, you guys, I'm completely blanking on Cloak and Dagger. Oh my God, I can't believe I just blanked on that show. I really love that show. Something is wrong with me. But I just got finished with Cloak and Dagger. That season is over. Podcasted all 10 episodes. And I'm going to be doing more shows, and I'm totally willing to take your suggestions. So subscribe to the podcast so you get these new episodes every week. Fear the Walking Dead comes out on Tuesday. Saved by the Bell, my rewatch of that show, comes out every Thursday. Although I've been kind of up and down with it. If you've listened to my last 2 episodes, you'll know what was going on in my life at the time. But I am back on a regular schedule. So subscribe to the podcast. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. So go subscribe, listen, recommend the podcast to all of your friends and family, because I want everybody to listen. I want to take over the world. Not really, but recommend the show to your friends. What else before I get into the episode? Oh, leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts as well, because that is a nice thing to do. And I'm a 5-star chick, so I like to have that 5-star in front of the podcast. Yeah. So subscribe, listen, recommend, and leave a 5-star review. And so let's get into Fear the Walking Dead. People Like Us. So they're doing the thing again where they're kind of playing with time. It's not as bad as it was in the first season, where they have to like change the color to let you know like you're back in a certain time before stadium, after stadium, all of that. They're not changing colors that way. But we do start the episode where we end the episode. We start the episode on like in the middle of this road with Al's truck in the middle of the road. It's a heavy thunderstorm or like heavy rainstorm with the wind blowing. And there are zombies in the middle of the road, and they're like flying all over the place. And that's what we see. And then they cut to the credits and all that. And in the credits, because the credits are supposedly give the story of the whole season. And if you watch all of the credits from strung together throughout the whole season, it'll tell the whole story. Your girl is not doing that. So if somebody else wants to do it and, show me how it all fits together, then I'll be more than willing to watch it. But I am not doing that kind of work for this show. But they do show in these credits. I mean, it seems kind of obvious. There's zombies walking, and then there's a storm cloud overhead. So the storm is coming, you guys. Are we ready for the storm? So the group is all split up. They're not really a group. Charlie, June, I'm so tired of her, and John Dory are all living on a bridge inside of a school bus. Charlie isn't talking. She doesn't speak anymore. She's silent. I can't with Charlie. I'm not angry with Charlie. I'm not one of those people that is like, oh my God, she killed Nick, this horrible person. I completely understand why Charlie killed Nick. Nick killed her family. He killed, who did he kill? Which vulture? Ennis. I think that was his name, Ennis. So Nick kills Ennis. Charlie gets revenge. She feels bad about it. She's depressed about it. She's depressed right now. She feels bad for killing Nick. She actually, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she liked Nick, but she loved Ennis. So I completely understood where she was coming from. I mean, she was coming from the same place Nick was coming from. Revenge. This person hurt my family. So I get it. I just don't care about her. And they tried their damnedest in this episode to make me care about her, because they have her talking to John Dory and they have her playing Scrabble with him. And while that's all very cute, I don't care about her. She's made, not very much of an impression on me. I don't understand why she's still around. Maybe they think they need a kid on this show, the way that The Walking Dead had Carl. So maybe we're going to watch Charlie, sort of grow up before our eyes the way that Carl did. But she has she's not grounded by anything on this show. Carl is grounded by Rick. Rick and Carl's relationship is the thing that we followed. Charlie is developing a relationship with June and John Dory, and I guess they're going to sort of become her surrogate parents, but that takes time to develop, and I don't really care. I mean, there's still time for them to make her character into something that I care about, and to make their sort of little family situation into something that I, want to watch. But as of right now, Charlie is just sort of there, and I'm wondering why all of these random people sort of care about her. Other than the fact that she's a child. Because I don't know, in the zombie apocalypse, like in real life, she is a child. She's like, 12 or 13 years old. In the zombie apocalypse, she's kind of an adult, or not even, she's old enough to take care of herself in the zombie apocalypse. If Clementine can do it, Clementine had a freaking baby she was taking care of, in the Walking Dead, games. So if Clementine can take care of herself, Charlie can definitely take care of herself. So, there's different rules in the zombie apocalypse. So they don't treat children like children in the zombie apocalypse. So it's really hard to look at her like a child and to expect everybody to treat her like a child. So whatever. I don't care about her. Morgan has decided to go back to Alexandria. And that's sort of the that's sort of the background of the episode. Morgan's decided to go back to Alexandria, and he's going around asking everybody else if they want to go with him. And nobody else does. John Dory tells him that he's thinking about going back to his cabin and taking June. God damn it. I hate that name. I'm sorry, Junes of the world. It's a fine name. I just don't like her as a June. She does not read as a June to me. So yeah, she doesn't read as a June to me. So it just seems like another fake name that Laura Naomi June has. But he's thinking about going back to the cabin with June and Charlie. Strand and Lucy are living in a mansion. Oh my God, Strand. Strand is so great in this episode. He's so funny. So Strand and Lucy are living in a mansion on this big plot of land. Strand is drunk. Drunk Strand for the win, you guys. He is great. Oh my God, he is such a great drunk. It is so funny. The first time we see him in this episode is when Morgan is walking up to this house, and there's a zombie walking up to him, and he's waiting for it so that he can kill it. And Strand is in a window with a gun with a silencer on it, and he shoots at the zombie. And he shoots it in like the arm or the shoulder or something like that. And Morgan is turning around like, what the fuck is going on? And Strand is like, apologies, with his drunk voice. He's like, apologies. My aim appears to be a bit off. And Morgan is like pissed. He's rolling his eyes. And Strand has a bottle of wine and a glass. And he's like, the door's open. Come on in. It is so funny. It is so great. I freaking love him. And Morgan goes into this house, and it's like Strand is dressed like a black Hugh Hefner. He's wearing like the pajama jacket or something like that. He's wearing all black, and he has a bottle of wine with him. He's brought 2 glasses to Morgan. And he's telling Morgan how he changed the artwork on the wall. He rotates it out just for a different view. And he's telling him how, this wine is better than the other wine that he had because this house has a wine cellar. He is so drunk, and it is so great. I just loved him in this. Like, Strand was the MVP of this episode for me. I loved him. So, he's living out his Hugh Hefner dreams in his pajamas, drinking his wine. Lucy, meanwhile, is laying around depressed, listening to loud ass records. Like, we're in the zombie apocalypse. And she's listening to records like so loud that she can't hear what's going on around her. It's just crazy. I don't. See, I can't just sit here and like huff and puff with my arms crossed. I have to actually speak to you guys. But that's just what I was doing when I was watching the episode. Just like rolling my eyes, arms crossed. Like, really? Is this what we're doing? Because Lucy and Strand they don't know what to do with themselves. They don't have anything to live for. Because Nick and what's her name? Madison are gone. And we find out that it's been about a month or so since the mid-season finale. So, Morgan's leg is all fixed. His leg is all recovered. So they're depressed. That's why Strand is getting drunk. That's why Lucy is sitting around, listening to her loud music. Like, I can't with them. And they don't want to go with Morgan. They tell Morgan they're not going because they're tired of taking long trips. Because, and this is where we get the the title of the episode. Strand, and they're going back and forth between Strand and Lucy talking to Morgan separately. And they're like, what we'll find. And Strand says, we'll find people like us, like bad people on the road all the way back to Virginia. So they don't want to go. And they're not having it. And Strand, the last person that Morgan goes to see is Alicia. And Alicia is also depressed. Strand and Lucy says that she never even moved into the house with them. She's staying in like some greenhouse or something like that. And they haven't seen her in weeks. So she's all upset. The thing that's occupying her mind right now is that there are zombies walking around with notes stuck to them by somebody begging for help. And Morgan sees these notes and he thinks that it's Alicia. But she explains that she's trying to help find this person because she's been seeing these notes for a while. And Morgan is trying to talk her out of it, trying to convince her to come back to them. He's telling her that, she doesn't even know where this person is and what they might be trying to do. This could be a trick, whatever. She's not trying to hear it. She just has, a one-track mind on this, and she has to save this person. And so Morgan makes it his business to help her. And so they end up at a lumber yard. The one person that does agree to go with Morgan to drive him back home is Al. She's the first person that he talks to, actually, and he tells her that he wants to go home and that he won't tell her about, he won't do another interview with her, but if she takes him home, she can see all of it for herself. And she agrees to go with him. Excuse me, she agrees to take him back home. And, that's kind of what I expect from her. She's by herself, actually. She is by herself, like repairing her truck or whatever she's doing. So, this is the thing about this episode. It's all about, I never feel like any of these people are going anywhere. I mean, obviously, all of them, except for Al, turn Morgan down and tell him that, they're not going, they don't want to go to Virginia. They don't want to take this long ride back there. But I never feel like Morgan is going either. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. And okay, spoilers for The Walking Dead. Rick is leaving The Walking Dead. And I'm wondering if Morgan might be going back. See, no, this season has already been filmed. So I'm wondering if they knew that Rick was leaving when they started filming the 9th season of The Walking Dead. Because they're on parallel timelines right now. Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead. But there's going to be a time jump. See, this is a lot. And nobody... this is just something that I started thinking about. But I'm wondering if Morgan will make it back to Alexandria, to be there if Rick dies. If that's how he leaves the show, in death. Because Morgan is the first person that Rick knew. This is the person that's known Rick the longest on The Walking Dead. So I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it. Maybe not. Maybe this... I never feel like I don't know if they're going to do another crossover on these shows. So, and I don't even know that I want that. It's just... I don't know. This was just an episode without tension to me. Nothing, I don't know, maybe it was kind of a catch up, and I never feel like anything nothing really happens. And so that's what it felt like. It felt like an episode where nothing really happens. We just get to see what these people have been doing for the last, month or so. Well, I don't how long has it been? 3 months of real time, but a month or so of, the Fear the Walking Dead time. So what happens is that there are zombies are washing up down a river, and John Dory and June and what's her name? Althea. I have to keep I write in my notes I write Al, but for Alicia I write Allie because I don't feel like writing her whole name every time I write it down. So now I have to call them Althea and Alicia because I have to be sure that I'm saying the right thing, that I'm, that I didn't make a mistake and put Al when it's supposed to be Alicia. So Althea and June and Dory decide that they have to go upriver because Dory thinks it might be a situation like he was having at his cabin where there was a break in the gate over the bridge. So he can't go because he's still kind of hurt. And Althea and June decide to go. And while they're out there, they start having a conversation about June wants to know what Dory said about her. And Al is, not really telling her what he said, but she's telling June, he told me about Laura, and the other people told me about Naomi. Nobody told me anything about June. And what June is feeling now is that, Dory is in love with Laura, but she's not Laura. And I'm like, girl, you really think that you're a more complex character than you actually are. And I'm sorry, Junebug, that's not the case. You have been, whether you have been calling yourself Laura, June, or Naomi, you have been the same character, the same person that's run away from everything. You haven't she hasn't changed. She's not more complex. She's not been a more complex character. She's told John Dory, and when she was Laura, she told John Dory about her dead daughter. When she was Naomi, she told Strand and Madison about her dead daughter. She's not a different character. So I don't know where this idea that she's, that he's in love with Laura and she can't be Laura anymore. And it's like, girl, you're not complex. You're not that complex. You're a basic ass, you're a basic ass June. So, sorry, Junebug. That's just, you're not that complex. And are we I guess the writers are trying to make us believe that she has been playing all of these different characters and nobody knows who she really is, but that's not been the case. She's been the same person with a different name every time. And she's another character that I haven't really connected with. I thought the episode Laura with her and John Dory was very good, but it fell mostly on, I forget the actor's name, but it fell mostly on John Dory. He carried that for me. She was there, but he carried it. So, they have to do better with her. I'm also not really into them as a love story. And to be fair, it's not like they were kissing or anything in this episode, but you can tell they're playing John like he's still in love with her. I don't care about them as a love story. I'm more interested in John Dory and Morgan as, not a love story. They could turn them into a love story if they want, but I'm more interested in the relationship between John Dory and Morgan than I am between John and June. So yeah, because when John and Morgan spoke in this episode, when Morgan was telling John, you should come with me to Alexandria. It's a nice place. It's safe. There are good people there. It was a really touching thing to see. Well, Dory turned him down, but he was also trying to convince Morgan, not to go, like giving Morgan, reasons why he shouldn't go, like telling him how dangerous it is to go all that far away. And, just, it was a really nice conversation between them. Not that there was nothing, I don't know, true, like really important, like heavy said, but just the interaction between the actors was really good. And they work really well together, and I want to see more of them together because it's really great. So once Junebug and Althea get up river, they're stopped in the middle of the road and they're checking everything out, and they find a box of supplies that says, take what you need, leave what you don't, and we'll see you further on up the road. So, it was a box with like water and a little bit of food and all of that. And so I want to know if the people that left this box are still around, or if, this is something that just got lost to, if these people are like dead, if, have they been touched by the vultures? Are they gone now because of the vultures? Something like that. I want to know what's going on with those folks. So that should be interesting coming up, further on down the season. Especially with this, hurricane. I guess it's a hurricane or something like that. So with the hurricane coming, and you might have like these other secret people around, should be interesting. So Morgan and Alicia go to a lumber yard. They find out, Alicia figures out that that's where these, the zombies with the notes attached to them are coming from. And Morgan goes with her. And when they get there, she finds out that the person that was sending the notes is already dead. And she has a little freak out because, she's been doing this. I'm guessing she's been seeing these notes for a good long time, maybe a few weeks. I don't think they say exactly how long she's been seeing these notes, but she's been seeing them for a while. And there have been, her goal has been to save this person. And she can't even kill him. She's like trying to hold him off. He's a zombie already. She's trying to hold him off, and Morgan eventually kills him. And she's she's talking to herself. She's telling him that, she's saying, I should have been here earlier. She's saying that her mom would have found this guy and saved him. And, this is a lot of what she's saying, that her mom would have been here. If her mom were here, her mom would have saved him and she would have helped everybody. And I'm like, okay, show. Who is this person that they're trying to convince me of? Because the Madison that they're trying to convince me of is not a Madison that I saw while I was watching the show. Now, to be clear, I watched the first season and the first half of the second season before I started watching again in season 4. So there's second half of season 2 and all of season 3 that I have never seen. I've listened to podcasts about them, and so I have some knowledge of what happened, but I don't, I haven't seen all of these episodes for myself. But the Madison that Alicia is describing is not a Madison that I have heard anybody describe at all. And it's not the Madison that I have ever seen. Like, the Madison that I saw is not a person that was out trying to save everybody. and to help everybody. The Madison that I remember was out for herself and her family, but more than her family, specifically Nick. Madison put her daughter in danger to help Nick when she turned on the lights to the hotel. What was that in season 2? Like in the first half of season 2. So the Madison that she's describing is not something that I have ever seen, and it's not something that anybody else has ever talked about. So, I feel like there's been a lot of telling and not showing with these characters this season, because we get a lot of talk about how Madison saved Strand and she saved Nick and Luciana. We didn't see any of that, though. They talked a lot about it, but they don't show any of it. So it just seems like Madison came into this season as a completely different character. And there's a lot of talk about the changes that she's had, but we don't get to see any of it. So it just feels really off to have Alicia be acting like this because of Madison. I don't know if I'm explaining this the right way, but it just feels really off, and it doesn't feel like it's just not any Madison that I've ever seen. So it feels like the show is trying to convince me, and this happens with The Walking Dead a lot. The original show, where the show is telling me that something happened. It's like the show is saying, don't just listen to what we're saying right now. Don't think about what happened in the past. That's what it feels like the writers of the show are saying. And that's what this feels like. So, but I think they finally decided that Alicia is going to take the place of Nick as far as Morgan is concerned. So she's his new Padawan. He's taking her under his wing, I guess. And he's going to, impart his wisdom on her. So he's telling her, like, you haven't been there for Strand and Lucy, and they need you. So, they need you to be there for them, just to be around for them. And this is when Alicia says, well, can't you be around for all of us? And Morgan doesn't have anything to say to that because, he wants to take his ass back to Alexandria. And I can't blame him because, that's a nice ass place. But Alicia walks off because Morgan doesn't say anything, and that's sort of the end of them, and they're going to work that out because nobody's going anywhere in this storm. Charlie and John Dory play a game of Scrabble because John Dory is the greatest guy around, and he creates a whole Scrabble board with the tiles and everything out of a cardboard box. He's the best. So he creates this game because Charlie won't talk. And she has this whole episode with, encounter with a zombie where she's sitting by the river and a zombie walks up on her, and she doesn't really run away from it, and she doesn't scream for help. So, she's that depressed. I guess you could kind of call her suicidal at that point. She's not calling for help. She's not looking for anything so that she can kill the zombie. And she's backing up away from it because she's obviously scared, but she's not turning to run away. So, Charlie has problems. So Dory is talking to her, and he's telling her about how he's done things in the past that he's not been proud of. And it took June coming around for him to finally start talking and to, come back to the world. And so this convinces Charlie that what she needs to do is go, like make amends for all of the bad shit she's done. And what she does is she sneaks off, which is so annoying. She sneaks off and she goes to the mansion and she takes back the book, The Little Prince, that Nick got for her and that Lucy left on the ground for her in that episode. And she takes that back, but Lucy is not like, Lucy freaks the fuck out. She is not interested in seeing Charlie. Like, she is like attacking Charlie. She pulls her coat off of her. Like, what are you doing here? And when she, Charlie runs off, in the storm, she runs off. And Lucy goes back to see what she was doing in the house, and she sees the book that she left. And this convinces Lucy that, I don't know, Charlie is redeemable now, I guess. I mean, she was just trying to beat this little girl's ass. And then she sees that book and she's like, oh, well, mine changed. And I need to go back and help her because she's a little girl and she's nice now because she brought that book back. Like, okay, another thing that's not working for me is Lucy's depression over the death of Nick. I never took their relationship to be that important. I mean, they were fine, but they weren't together that long. And I realized that in the zombie apocalypse that people are together and like bonds and relationships are formed fast, but they didn't have that kind of relationship to me. Like, they were having sex with each other and they liked each other, but they weren't in love to me. And for Lucy to be expressing this kind of like depression over Nick really doesn't make sense to me, especially since we saw all of her people get taken down at the border. I believe she's the only one that lived. And for her to be more upset about Nick than she was about that, than she was about the people that she was like with for a lot longer, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Their relationship just wasn't that serious for me to be able to take this whole depression thing seriously. And, we also get something that really annoyed me with her, which is she is laying around playing loud ass music, these loud ass records. And at one point it's so loud that a zombie breaks into the mansion, which, okay, I'm rolling my eyes real hard at that. A zombie breaks into the mansion. They can't hear it because, Lucy's loud music. Strand is, looking for the zombie because he sees the blood on the door or something like that. And he has a whole, I think this is supposed to be funny. Lucy has her back to the door where the zombie is walking in, and she's just like almost catatonically listening to this music. And Strand finds the zombie, and they have a whole episode behind her where the music is so loud she can hear nothing. And he is wrestling with this zombie, and it's a moment straight out of like the Addams Family, like the moment where Gomez is like in the background, like beating up something while somebody else is in the foreground. They're just doing their regular old thing. And that is what's happening right here. And it's like, I think it's supposed to be funny. It wasn't funny though, because it was so stupid because she couldn't hear anything. It's like, really? I get you can hear the growling of the zombies, but Strand is jumping around, like actually wrestling with a zombie. It's so stupid. It's just ridiculous. And whatever. So Dory sees, Luciana runs after Charlie. Dory, realizes Charlie is missing. So he goes after her and he needs help because his side is still all messed up. And he goes to Strand. It's like, really? really, my guy, these are the people you go to find Charlie. These people want to fuck her up, but whatever. He goes to Strand, and Strand is like, yeah, we want to kill her. Why would we help you find her? But Dory like guilts him into it because he says, hey, I got shot and it's your fault, which I think is like, really? We're blaming. Who shot him? Oh, I remember. Alicia shot him, right? Because she was trying to shoot Naomi. But whatever. So he's like, you owe me because I got shot because of you guys, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Strand goes out to help him, but Strand is like, I'm drunk and I'm going to keep drinking, so you got to drive. And Strand actually does keep drinking. It is so funny. He's sitting in the car drinking. Dory is looking at him like, I was a cop before, right? And Strand looks at him like, yeah, and I was a millionaire before. So what? We all did something like before all of this happened. And I'm like, Dory, did you really think that he was going to stop drinking just because you said you were a cop? Like, I believe Strand would have drank in a car like pre-zombie apocalypse, whether a cop was around or not, he would have been drinking. So, in the Z-Poc, he does not care about any of the bullshit. So they're looking around, and of course they don't find her because, that's going to happen next week. And they talk a little bit about what's going to happen next. And Dory tells him, he's planning to go back to his cabin but he doesn't know what he's going to do next. And Strand is like, yeah, nobody knows what they're going to do next. And they just sort of have, a conversation. And this is when the storm really gets started. Althea and Junebug get stuck in her car, not her car, but her truck. And zombies are flying all over the place. They're slamming into the truck. Dory and Strand are stuck out in the, in the storm. And who is it? Alicia and Morgan, they do a whole thing where they, it's a really cool kill, actually. They, there's like I don't even want to call them a horde, like a little group of zombies that are coming after them. Too big for them to like try to kill all by themselves, I guess. And what they do is they lure them all out, in their group, in a little group. And then they drop lumber on them, which is really cool to watch these zombies like splat under the weight of the lumber. And that's basically the end of the episode. We end up back from the beginning, at the end at Al's truck, with the zombies flying around, and the storm is like really heavy now. So that is it. The end of the episode, and we're going to get, next week we're going to be like full on storm. And actually on Twitter, I forget who it was. I think it was another podcaster, but somebody on Twitter, when I was live tweeting the episode, was like, they showed us the zombies in the storm at the beginning so that we would sit through the episode, because most of this episode there's zero storm, and they just wanted to keep people around till the end of the episode. But that is it. So like I said, not a whole lot happened. Morgan is obviously not leaving anytime soon to go, back to Alexandria, because this storm, it's like a hurricane or something. It's really bad. So, we'll see what happens. And, I don't know what's going to happen with all these people. I need some of these people to die. Like, there's not even that many people on this show, and I still want people to die. Like, June can go. Charlie can go. Lucy, I want to like, but she's not been doing anything. Althea, not really that interesting right now. So a lot needs to happen to either change these characters, like to expound upon these characters, to make them, more interesting, or to kill them, do something. Like, this storm is kind of interesting, but I don't know how long this hurricane can, last, can be interesting to me. And how long can this hurricane last, and how long? I don't want them to do a Walking Dead thing where where we spend 8 episodes on this fucking hurricane and like a day and a half passes. So, fingers crossed that they don't do that. That time just keeps moving on at a good pace, because I cannot take The Walking Dead like time moving like snails. So, fingers crossed that we don't spend 8 episodes on this hurricane. I like, the change of weather, because we never get that on The Walking Dead. We've only gotten that once, and that was in season 5 when they're in that barn and they have that big, a hurricane again. So it is nice to have like a change of pace with the weather, but I don't want to do this for 8 episodes. So we will see what happens next week, y'all. So if you want to get in contact with me, you should, first of all, email the show. Email me your thoughts about Fear the Walking Dead. Send it to TheIntrovertedNerd@gmail.com. You can follow me on the socials. I'm on Twitter @NerdTrovertPod. I'm on Instagram @TheIntrovertedNerd, and you can go on Facebook and like and follow the Facebook page at facebook.com/TheIntrovertedNerd. And I forgot what I was going to say, but so follow me all of those places. You can look in the description of the podcast, and you'll see all of the links and everything to all of that. So until, I was about to say next week, but I have a Saved by the Bell episode out this week. So until later this week, you guys, bye.